In education, technology can be a life changer, a game changer, for kids who are both in school and out of school. Technology can bring textbooks to life. The internet can connect students to their peers in other parts of the world. It can bridge the quality gaps. We shouldn't judge people through the prism of our own stereotypes. At the end of the day, the position is just a position, a title is just a title, and those things come and go. It's really your essence and your values that are important. When you deprive people of their right to live in dignity, to hope for a better future, to have control over their lives, when you deprive them of that choice, then you expect them to fight for these rights. My role models are people who can do things. I say to myself, I wish I could do that. For many, the hijab represents modesty, piety, and devotion to God, and I truly respect that. But the hijab should not be used as a means of applying social pressure on people. I want to be that person who could sacrifice everything for others. To achieve a lasting peace in the Middle East takes guts, not guns. Of course, democracy is good, but it is a process, not a prescription. By its very nature, hardline ideology is self-serving and self-perpetuating. Its primary goal is to survive, and that precludes everything. Social media are a catalyst for the advancement of everyone's rights. It's where we're reminded that we're all human and all equal. It's where people can find and fight for a cause, global or local, popular or specialized, even when there are hundreds of miles between them. If one girl with courage is a revolution, imagine what feats we can achieve together. The United States was an innocent victim after September 11th. It had never attacked or occupied Afghanistan, so therefore it had no choice but to go after the aggressors. Being queen is overrated. Learning to read and write changes lives. It means jobs, money, health, and dreams fulfilled. I have nothing against the veil, and I think that, wrongly, many in the West look at the veil as a symbol of oppression. Now, as long as a woman chooses to wear the veil, because that's her belief and because of her own, that's a personal relationship with God, so she should be free to dress in whichever way she wants. I'd rather be dealt with as a person than a persona. I think change needs to be egoless. It's not about my leaving my fingerprints or a legacy. It's more important to be part of a process by rolling up your sleeves, being on the ground, initiating projects, starting campaigns, building stuff. We're programmed to believe that time is the enemy, that it takes away from us, or that it diminishes us. I have found that it's done the opposite to me. Life is in perfect balance. It's just that our perception of it isn't. Tweeting is a very personal form of expression. Who else could talk about my son refusing to wear a suit to meet the Pope, my husband flying a helicopter, or take a TwitPic from our home? Well, my husband is supportive of my work, like advocating for dialogue between cultures on YouTube. Twitter's a great way to tell people across the world what I care about and, hopefully, motivate them to join me in furthering my causes. 80% of my life is normal like any other mother. I worry about my children if they're doing all right. I worry that my husband is doing well. Being popular comes when you have everything, but to be liked, it means that you must be treating people with respect and you must be showing kindness toward them. People sometimes think of queen as a title that's shrouded with protocol and formality, and for that reason, sometimes people are not easily saying what they want to say. They're reluctant to express their opinions, and I kind of find that frustrating because I want to know what people really think. The average Jordanian has much in common with the average American in terms of the values that we share, the fact that we all value the family unit, or work ethic. I feel that we don't have the luxury of asking whether or not the Palestinians and Israelis can achieve peace. I think we have to just ask the question of when and how. Children who have an education grow up to lead healthier lives, earn higher income, take better care of their families, contribute to their economies. I found that being online has opened a window for me to look into other people's lives. The greatest fear that I have is losing touch. As a child, I sometimes used to travel to the West Bank to visit my family, so I know what the checkpoints felt like. I knew what it was like to live under occupation. Religion and modernity are not necessarily mutually exclusive. I'm amazed by the misconceptions about Muslim women and the Arab world that I hear, and that really does hurt me. I've learned to take things a little more easily, to be a little more forgiving of myself. Everybody's social life in Jordan revolves around family. Maybe clothes are a form of creative expression for me, an outlet, because I don't get to express myself creatively through my official duties. 80% of my life is normal like any other mother. I worry about my children if they're doing all right. I worry that my husband is doing well. The 20% is just the queen aspect that factors in. But for me, it's life as usual, and it's just taking care of my family. Of course, I tweet. Tweeting is a very personal form of expression. Who else could talk about my son refusing to wear a suit to meet the Pope, my husband flying a helicopter, or take a twit pic from our home? I believe that if we want our children to understand the world beyond their classroom, we must bring the world into their classroom. I think that, as is the case offline, we should not be tolerant of hate speech, racist comments, or groups that promote hatred or intolerance in any shape or form. Oftentimes, we think of girls as soft and vulnerable, and we don't really think of them as possibly being the solutions to some of the world's toughest problems, but they really are. I really feel that political will is born out of popular will. When girls are educated, you get effects that cascade throughout society. I'd rather be dealt with as a person than a persona. With my children, I'm just mom. At the end of the day, the position is just a position, a title is just a title, and those things come and go. It's really your essence and your values that are important. The protocol things, the officialdom, are part of my work, but it doesn't take more than 20% of my time. The majority of my time I spend on issues that I care about. It isn't often that the logic behind a policy is so clear. But when it comes to the value of educating girls, the evidence speaks for itself. We always say Jordan is not rich in natural resources. We don't have oil or gas like some of our neighbors do, but I think in terms of human resources, we are quite lucky, and we are really trying to foster an environment of innovation and technology. I think Jordan will emerge as a center of innovation in the Middle East. I think generally, in life, I try to always ensure that there are periodic moments where I do venture out of my comfort zone, because that's what keeps you alive. That's what keeps you from getting stale. When you educate a girl, you kickstart a cycle of success. It makes economic sense. It makes social sense. It makes moral sense. But, it seems, it's not common sense yet. Perhaps if we all subscribed to the African concept of Ubuntu, that we all become people through other people, and that we cannot be fully human alone, we could learn a lot. There'd be less hatred and more harmony. Holy Scripture does not hold women back. It's the people that decide to interpret it in such a way for their own, sometimes political, agendas. I don't think people by nature are extremists. You will never find a population of extremists. Extremists have existed throughout the centuries on all religions. And what happens is, extremists start to have more leverage when the situation is bad. The more time goes on, the closer I am to the ground. I've been exposed to so many issues and people living under different pressures. It's helped me realize that a lot of glamorous things that people prioritize really don't matter. I work in areas related to child protection and family safety, women's empowerment, the creation of opportunities for youth, and culture and tourism. Daunting? Yes. Impossible? No. In fact, such challenges energize me. Role models can inspire. Campaigns can motivate. But if we want all girls everywhere to rise up, then we must find them, befriend them, and support them. Look at any country that's plagued with poverty, disease, or violence. The antidote is girls. Girls are the antibodies to many of society's ills. We need another revolution in the Arab world. We need an education revolution. If there's one thing we need to focus on, it's redesigning our educational systems. A woman caring for her children, a woman striving to excel in the private sector, a woman partnering with her neighbors to make their streets safer, a woman running for office to improve her country, they all have something to offer. And the more our societies empower women, the more we receive in return. Now and always, hardline policy and those who embrace it are vessels for darker forces that are at once self-cannibalizing and combustible. No good can come of them. They are unsustainable because their sense of righteousness denies human worth.